What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to State of the WWE, whatever episode it is. I'll tell you later, I don't know. And we're also just kind of hanging out. I don't even mind if this show goes off the rails. We can talk about anything today. Dave will even talk about gas stations if you want. I don't care. I don't know why that'd be a topic, but...
Can we talk about Hot Pockets?
Hot Pockets. We can talk about... the first thing I wanted to talk about is... I made a video on it already, but... Morrow taking a shot at the WWE. What do you think about this now? Are people starting to go the other way? And you know, I mean, I feel like a lot of people are maybe going the other way now. Like, you know, Morrow needs to stop being a pussy, or I don't know.
Whoa, hold on, slow down. I haven't seen that tweet. I haven't seen the reaction to that. So could you enlighten me
as to what? So Morrow said he called an MMA fight the other day, and he said. That one of the women was has a background in professional wrestling, and then he said, "Wow, it feels good to be able to say that again." So, I don't know. I think just people are getting. You're seeing a lot more negativity towards Morrow than before. I mean, I guess it's weird because it's not just like Morrow is somebody who's upset or is mad about being bullied or something like that. It's that he has this mental condition, or he has this condition. So that's the thing that protects him, I think. Like when most people want to be like, well, shut him up and shut the hell up, stop being a bitch. He's got this condition, so that's sort of why the bullying is weirder with him. Where if it was Justin
here's the
Roberts,
thing that I'm not too sure about. I mean, I'm not sure about his condition. I'm not really looking at it either in that way. I'm just looking at what has been spoken of by other sources, and they all seem to correlate that JBL just has a manner to him that is very aggressive to the point where it's intrusive, if not full-out harassment. And there's too much information that seems to back this up that we can just dismiss it. When it comes to Morrow, I'm a tolerant person and so forth, but I also don't know his condition. But I just don't see the bullying thing that much of a part of it, although I still think that it is a valid point that, again, nobody should have to deal with any sort of bullying on the job. Like, if they're there to do a job, fine. If there's jealousy, well, management needs to step in and say, look, these are the bounds. You don't cross them, because if you're jealous of this guy's position, then you know what? You can get out of here, because there's the door.
Yeah,
so,
go pound sand and fry ice for all I care.
But the thing is, though, when you've got, like we had Booker T the other day, was it Sam Roberts or was it Rosenberg, who also came to JBL's defense?
Yeah,
that's too much of forming a line, a corporate line around the individual that you want to protect, because there was settlement discussions with the WWE and Mauro Ranallo. So we know that obviously there was a conclusion to that. And now that he's saying what he's saying, I don't think it's going overboard or being unnecessary, because he should have always been able to speak his mind. And again, I don't think it's an attack, because there's been many other people who've said the exact same thing, where, professional wrestling, because that's what it is. Or that's maybe what it should be.
Yeah, it is tough. It's weird to figure out. I mean, I don't know.
The situation is very bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, he's always worked in all these other places, and he hasn't really had an issue, but he's also had issues, so this isn't the to me, it really goes back to, I love Morrow, and I enjoyed him calling wrestling, but ever since day one, it was like, the minute that I found, because we found out about his issue, like, early on, like, right as he got signed, he had things on his Twitter about advocating for whatever, depression and mental illness.
Well, he had spoke about it during his podcast at one point too, I believe. Before that, long before he got signed with WWE. So
it was
that's another reason why I liked him, because of the fact that he was so honest, but he was also willing to advocate for being honest, as well as for looking for help when you need it, and to not feel that there's no help available. And again, something like that, the WWE should be jumping upon, and especially with the fact that they've got their whole Be a Star program, which, again, the evidence backs it up. You got CM Punk saying, well, people were calling me a faggot. Oh, don't say that. But you asked me to come here to talk about bullying, and I'm telling you, oh, no, well, look, either, I'm telling the truth, and I'm representing the Be a Star program that you put out, or I'm just a total corporate shill that just is parroting whatever it is that you want me to say.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right there. Now, Cage Side Seats is reporting that JBL's on-screen persona is going to go through some drastic changes. Crowds have been extremely vocal, and WWE, though, they're hoping this whole thing will blow over. They're thinking that it might be helpful to have him become more of a babyface on commentary.
What?
You guys didn't notice that the other day when he was keeping quiet and he was trying to play nice and so forth?
Yeah, usually he's calling people.
He should go the opposite way. I think they should go the opposite way.
I think he complimented what's his name, Byron Saxton, once or twice.
Okay, guys, so we're gonna move on from that Mauro Ranallo shit because I think we beat it to goddamn death. But Jake is basically the newsman on this show, I feel like. So at this point, Jake, take it away. Whatever you got, I'd love to hear it.
Let me bring up another dead horse. Alberto Del Rio, 17 hours ago, accuses WWE of racism and bullying. He came out with another video.
Didn't he just defended JBL though, like in a video?
Yeah, I know. It's so just ass backwards.
This guy's fucking crazy. I love it.
I mean, if it wasn't obvious that he was accusing them of racism, Paige informed Alberto that she still works for the other promotion he was referring to, giving away the actual recipient of Alberto's verbal slander. So, I mean, you obviously know he's talking about WWE. Paige is supposed to be returning soon-ish from recovering from her, injuries, but WWE might have a hard time accepting her back since, they're already in bad times with her fiance and then everything that happened with the leaks. And, he's only making it more difficult for her to return. But, I mean, this video's on YouTube, but he just went off again, and there's a bunch of websites here, like, Cage Side Seats are saying, what are Paige and Del Rio or El Patron trying to accomplish with the anti-WWE videos? Because Monday's Rude Awakening looks at Paige and Alberto, the first, post-shakeup of WWE, and it doesn't, this is what, the third or fourth video that he's posted now that, started off with him making fun of Triple H, and now he's continuing to say that they're, abusive, difficult to work for, that Triple H is still burying talent. Just all these, crazy, outlandish things that some might be based in fact, but others, is it just, being said as, is there any merit of truth to it? So,
I don't know. Not unless you give good examples. It doesn't sound like you're giving any examples. I mean,
he's kind of just making these brazen accusations.
Is he talking about the racism that could have been done against those that are African American or black? Because I hope that he's not referring to racism against Hispanics, because that alone doesn't exist, or at least Hispanics aren't a race.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I know what you're saying, and it's very bizarre.
It's a vague statement.
It doesn't quite all add up.
Here I do want to interject, because there has been discrimination against Hispanics in the WWE, and that is undisputable.
Oh, absolutely.
There's been words of specifically Triple H calling Hispanics bumblebees because of the whole bumblebee guy on The Simpsons.
What?
This has been documented by several sources, and
you're a bumblebee.
Has been verified by other individuals. But it seems to be that, yes, even Rey Mysterio and perhaps Alberto Del Rio have experienced some discrimination. But for him to go as far as to say racism and not come out with any evidence, any examples, anything that he can cite, just like you said, Jake, I think is probably borderline libel.
It is getting really. Del Rio is like severely taunting them. Like in Periscope videos, he's talking about Triple H's big nose. He's talking about the WWE sucking and all these other terrible things. Like it's almost like
extremely belligerent.
I think he's jealous that the Paige is in the WWE.
You've seen that in those videos. She's tried to calm him down. Paige has tried to okay, come on, and he keeps talking and keeps going at it, big nose and this and that, and you can see that he's really the one who's pushing it. But she hasn't done much better with her posts and her tweets and all that stuff in regards to her thoughts on the WWE.
Yeah, but she's also sharing his videos too, so it's kind of, she looks awkward in the videos, like she doesn't want it. Like you said, she's trying to calm him down. She's trying to not just change the subject in certain times, but, stop the conversation entirely. But then she's reposting and retweeting and even being the camera person for some of these things and filming it. So it's just like, I don't know. It just doesn't all add up. But one of the things that he did say about Triple H still burying people, go figure, Justin Roberts came out on the Two-Man Power Trip of Wrestling podcast and was talking about how, he still feels that Triple H is burying talent. He alleged that Triple H, whose job it is to build talent, always had the habit of burying up-and-coming performers in order to feed his ego. We've talked about that on State, in live reviews many, many, many times. I mean, we even look at this year, Triple H has to be in the limelight yet again. He's got to be the one to face Seth Rollins.
I just don't get, what's the example of him burying anybody now? Because he's done, from what I've seen in NXT and stuff, all he's done is advocate for all these people and get them in there. And even some people
in NXT, yes,
but even what I mean, who's he burying on the roster? I mean, he's buried.
It's
Sting?
less burying now and more just taking somebody's spot. I think that, this is my own personal opinion interjected here.
Whose spot did he take, though?
I mean, Seth could have had a feud with Samoa Joe. I mean, they could have built that up at WrestleMania.
No,
Samoa Joe wasn't even at WrestleMania.
Samoa Joe just got into the company. I mean, he just got.
But it could have happened sooner. I mean, there's always, if there's a will, there's a way. But it feels like last year Triple H was the main event, and one of the things that Justin Roberts talks about, he said there are a couple of things that come to mind that I write about in the book. When Triple H was going to be wrestling The Undertaker at Mania, he basically said he went into the locker room, looked around, and there was nobody for him and nobody at his level besides The Undertaker. So he said at this point it was better for him to wrestle The Undertaker again. So this is when they had their rematch the second time.
Yeah.
He said at the same time when they did that storyline with the roster walking out on the company, and remember Triple H came in the ring, and said that he could have a better match with the broomstick than most of the guys in the company nowadays. Remember, everybody was outside because they didn't feel safe with the authority. He's Justin Roberts says he's always doing whatever it takes to make himself look like Superman and put everyone else down. And I can kind of see what he means. Triple H has always been self-serving and feeding his ego. He may be building up new talent in NXT, and I give him credit and I give him kudos, and NXT is fantastic for that. But I also see how Triple H still wants to be the big draw, the main name, the game.
I'm gonna see this differently for once. I'm gonna say something different. I'm gonna counteract what you're saying and take a different side here. First of all, I agreed with Triple H wrestling him again because I didn't know who was supposed to wrestle Undertaker either. I felt the same way. Like, who else is going to be better than Triple H again, I guess. But here's the thing. I look at this as, I know that Triple H comes from a different time. He comes from a time that I'm more used to, and we're more used to, actually, than many of these. So a lot of these wrestlers are younger than us by 3 to 5 years. Now I'm starting to get older than the new wrestlers. I look at this as Triple H possibly challenging these people. He's challenging them. He's literally saying, you want this spot, come and take it from me. And nobody is taking it from him at this point. Even Triple H coming back is still a bigger draw than some of these people would be. And he's actually right. It's not like he's wrong. I get that it seems wrong and it seems like bullyish that, the guys come back to claim his spot. But you know what? Take it from him. Somebody take it from him. If Daniel Bryan was doing what he was doing at WrestleMania 30, you know what I mean? Daniel Bryan was taking it from him. Those people were reacting to Bryan, the whole crowd, the whole WWE universe. Triple H could see that. Everybody could see that happening. That's why he beat Triple H at WrestleMania.
CM Punk not left, I don't think he would have had the opportunity to do so. I don't think it would have.
What?
We would have seen.
No, CM Punk wrestled The Undertaker.
No. I'm talking about when Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. It was the plan for Triple H to face CM Punk. That was the set plan for WrestleMania 30. Had CM Punk not up and left and said that it's...
No, they set up KANE and CM Punk, and then that never happened because Punk left.
No, it was Triple H he was supposed to fight. And he said, well, you're going to be in, Vince said to CM Punk, you're going to be in the main event. You're fighting Triple H. You're fighting Triple H. This is the game, of course. That's just as good as being in the main event.
Yeah.
And that was CM Punk's
I remember him
biggest
saying
gripe.
that.
Yeah, that was CM Punk's biggest gripe, saying, you're not going to have me be in the main event of WrestleMania. You're going to bring back Dave, talking about Batista.
Yeah.
And I've been here busting my ass. And instead, so had CM Punk not walked out, I don't think Daniel Bryan would have gotten that shot. So it just so happened that Daniel Bryan kind of fell into the perfect shitstorm. The fans wanted him, Punk left, and it put WWE in like a hard position. So they had to give the crowd what they wanted without like a full-blown, revolution happening.
I get that, and I get Triple H, whatever is upset. I mean, maybe CM Punk, if he had just wrestled Triple H that WrestleMania, next year would have been in that spot, to be honest.
But he heard that the year before, and the year before that,
I know.
And the year before that, when he fought The Undertaker, when he fought Chris Jericho, which was a great feud, bringing up Punk's, drunk father and, his family and all the ties to alcoholism.
Who was hotter at the Royal Rumble? Who was hotter at SummerSlam? CM Punk or Daniel Bryan by then? It was Daniel Bryan.
Oh, Daniel, and CM Punk acknowledged that it was
why
Daniel
he lost
Bryan's
his
time.
spot. That's why he lost his spot.
That's part of the reason he left. Yeah.
So my argument.
But Triple H didn't do that for him. CM Punk left so that Daniel Bryan could have his time to shine. He said, "My year was when I faced Jericho. You didn't give it to me, so I'm leaving so that Daniel Bryan has his year. He's white hot like I was white hot then, and you ruined me, and I'm not going to let you ruin Daniel."
Well, I'm not going to deny that they mishandled CM Punk. That's a different argument. That is true. I think that they handled him wrong. I think how they're handling Seth is fine. I think Triple H and Seth's thing was pretty awesome, and I get that people are upset that maybe Triple H again. But again, Triple H is still valuable. Now, Dave Batista coming back and doing that, or somebody like that coming back, that might be bullshit. But, again...
Just like our second, co-main event was bullshit with Lesnar and Goldberg. I mean,
Yeah, but...
The outcome was better than what we expected.
I think this is Triple H being the alpha and saying, take this from me. You know what I mean? You want this? Take this from me.
That's where I feel it's Triple H being the alpha and saying, I have this, you won't get it unless I give it to you. I don't think he wants anybody to take it from him. I think that he knows he's, not that he doesn't deserve it. I want to specify here.
Because
he worked really hard and he's a great wrestler, but he slept his way to the top. He became Vince's son-in-law before he became Vince's chosen man.
Are you fucking kidding? You're going to go into that shit? Are you kidding me?
Well,
Triple H did not sleep his way to the top.
Way.
Triple H fucking was ass kicked in WCW, came over to WWF, was the Hunter Hearst Helmsley dig, got a fucking retarded gimmick, which actually was all right as a kid. Then he got blamed for everything. He got shit on for a year. I mean, this guy, he didn't sleep his way through anything. I mean,
no, because I said he deserved it, but he was absolutely a phenomenal wrestler. DX and everything that he brought about with him was fucking gold. Perfect, absolutely. But at the time when he was even trying to become champion and vying to be the Universal Champion, everything that happened, he only got that top spot because it was the McMahon-Helmsley era. I don't think he would have had that long of a title reign or that many championship wins or that many WrestleMania main events. I mean, think about how many main events he's been a part of. Think about how many spotlights he's had. And how many times can you say that was because of, who he is and who his wife is?
Well, I mean, obviously he's got an influence. I mean, I'm not going to deny the fact that Triple H is a part of the company, but I also think the company does make decisions based on the company, and as long as he didn't do anything terrible to the family. If Triple H was still here just as a worker to do what he does, you know what I mean? He's a part of the company, and he's going to have some more influence, just like, if I work my way into becoming friends with somebody, I'm going to get more out of them because I'm friends with them. Triple H is oh my God, the politician and everything. He's still entertaining to watch. He has been. He really put on a good wrestling match with Roman Reigns in the main event last year. Even though
he did.
Even though I hated that main event because I had no involvement emotionally in that whatsoever.
Yeah, there was no investment at all.
But he did a great job. This year, again, with Seth Rollins, they had, I think, one of the best matches of the night, if not the best match of the WrestleMania. So to me, that's justified. Triple H, this WrestleMania, I think I gave the match an 8.5. I think Triple H and Seth Rollins might have had the best match at WrestleMania. So to me, justified. Now, Triple H starts schlebbing around and sucking ass in the ring and puts himself himself in these matches, well, then he's doing a disservice to everybody, and then he needs to move out of the way. And here's another thing. If you get a demonstrative personality, somebody who has balls on the WWE roster, who can grab something and say, I am the goddamn man, try to take this from me, it's my time now. And I'm talking about CM Punk, whoever the fuck, because CM Punk did have those balls. But in the end, he fucking took his ball and went home. If you have, and I know that Stone Cold has done similar things in the past too, and, CM Punk gave it a hell of a run. But again, still, if you have those balls, you just don't go away. You don't stop being persistent. You don't stop being, attacking for this. CM Punk should have already been back now. CM Punk should have already cried outside of the WWE and demanded that he's a goddamn star and cut all kinds of promos on Triple H and the WWE and told the fans that they're taking it from you. That's what CM Punk should have done. He should have stood up to Triple H, whether he's wrong or right, and just demanded to be dominant and showed everybody that he's willing to be dominant, that he's the alpha male now. Try to take it from me, Triple H. And guess what? All this outside bullshit that would have gone on between the WWE and CM Punk after a year could have culminated in a match against Triple H for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania or something like that.
In the main event, yeah, and it would have brought more eyes to the product than you've ever seen before. I mean, CM Punk has such a gigantic buy rate for pay-per-view. For the UFC, oh my God, it was one of the biggest buy rates they've had in history. And I want to clarify something too, because I don't want your fans to misconstrue what I'm saying. I think Triple H is best for business. When Vince McMahon is no longer here with us, God forbid the day that I rue those words, but I don't want anything to happen to Vince, but I really wish he would step down and Triple H would take over. But I want him to be strictly a behind-the-scenes kind of guy. I don't want to see any more authority figure, and I don't want to see him wrestle anymore. He's done a great job. I don't think he had the best match at Mania, but he had a good match. I think the best match was AJ and Shane, but even that, that essentially shouldn't have happened either. You got Shane taking someone that works all year spot too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of arguments to be made. We're both kind of arguing the same thing here. The end result was great, but how we got there, we both agree was a little off, and I feel like it took away from somebody.
I think that if it's best for business for Triple H to wrestle, he'll wrestle. It doesn't matter if he's the corporate guy behind the scenes, if he's running the show, if he's not running the show. Listen, Vince McMahon did it, and I mean, Vince McMahon didn't do it because Vince McMahon. Well, I'm sure there was a part of Vince McMahon that wanted to step in the ring and do all this stuff, but he never did it before. He never showed signs of it before, ever. It was only when he was pushed to the brink, pushed to the limit, and business called for it to be done, that he made a decision to get in the ring and do the stuff with Stone Cold and everything that Vince McMahon did.
Oh yeah.
But Triple H obviously
would
always.
I think that even.
But again, look at the match Triple H had. So I don't care if Vince McMahon somehow, oh my God, died in a couple years, and Triple H was going to have a match with somebody because of whatever the hell. I don't have a problem with that as long as Triple H is having good matches and it makes sense. And they're only.
I mean, look at Triple H and Sting, and the fact that Ego won again. Triple H, personally vied that he went ahead and
what
won
that was
that
about.
match.
I honestly, I got to tell you this. Here's why I think I got to believe Triple H won that match against Sting for this reason. They looked at Sting coming in as a bonus. I think as a bonus, like something that they probably weren't even going to do. But they said, Triple H, you need some win. You need a win. Triple H, you've had losses at WrestleMania. At that point, Triple H had lost twice to The Undertaker. He'd lost to Daniel Bryan. So you're talking about I believe that's 3 WrestleMania losses in a row. So, I know that it shocked me too, guys. I was completely shocked that Sting lost. But I almost look at it as them saying, like, hey, listen, Sting, like, we don't want to let WCW and NWO win at WrestleMania. That's something that we just don't feel like we want to do. But here's the other thing. Triple H needs a win. Would you like to come in and work WrestleMania? You will be losing to Triple H at WrestleMania, but he needs a win against somebody, and people want to see you work at WrestleMania. Would you want to come in and do it? And that's kind of how I see it being played out. And I've never heard anything different from Sting or anybody else. And we may never know why. It was a weird ending. It was a screwy ending. Do wins and losses really matter that much? But I mean,
I think even if it wasn't best for business, Triple H would still be out there hogging the spotlight.
Well, I don't think that was a hog in the spotlight, though. I think that was a side match. It was a fan service match that he gave.
No, I'm not just talking about that match, but in general, going forward.
It was best for business, to be quite honest. And you know what? I enjoyed it. I didn't like the outcome, but I liked the build up. I liked the surprise. I didn't expect NWO to show up, and you know what? I really for the most part, it was enjoyable. I can't get everything I want, and for the most part, that whole WrestleMania I thought was really enjoyable. So, you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah.
Considering that from what Joe's saying, it was sort of required. They needed to fill that match. They needed to sort of keep Triple H sort of somewhat relevant, and they put on that match. So,
and I think they really do see it. And I can see how you can say all these things about Triple H. It is very clear how you could take one side or the other. One side is that Triple H is such a viable commodity right now. He is the last guy now, especially with The Undertaker gone, last guy from the Attitude Era, from that time, and he's in great shape still, and he can obviously still have a really good match, and he's still there. So they take him as a very viable commodity, you know what I mean? And that's why he's being used that way. And it's actually impressive, the fact that and I'm sucking ass here, but he works for NXT, and he flies to the next thing, and he flies to do the press, and then he works on Raw a little bit, then he has to work on SmackDown with those guys a bit, give some input to them, and go do the business.
No one can say that he doesn't work hard.
Oh, absolutely.
But you can't deny that you're right.
The golden shovel means come from somewhere, Joe. You've got to admit that.
No, but he does have certain privileges, and I hate using that word, but that are allotted to someone in his position. But he also seems to be constantly working. So, it's not excusing the way that he acts outside the ring, but he is working hard for the industry.
Oh, absolutely.
I've
never discredited him.
What way does he work outside the ring,
Joe's
Dave?
coming from.
What was Dave saying? What way does he work outside? Excusing what he does outside the ring? What do you mean?
Well, I was referring to, because again, I was initially siding with you in regards to the work that he's put in.
Yeah.
But Jake does make a good point, and again, I am from that leaning where there have been documented occurrences where he is very discriminatory, where he uses his power to sort of adjust things so that it works for his favor, or that it sort of brushes his ego. So I'm saying that the way that he's acted outside the ring, again, referring to Hispanics as bumblebees, I think that is, again, what I'm referring to in regards to outside the ring.
I guess.
Yeah, I think he's always viewed himself as untouchable. He's in a position where he can kind of say or do as he pleases, knowing that the repercussions for him are going to be less severe than, let's say, an Edge, a Christian, even a Shawn Michaels, just because he was somewhat protected at that time. And think about how long he held the belt, what he did then, and maybe less now, but think about even 10 years ago with Evolution and the way things are booked. Look at the way he beat, Goldberg at SummerSlam when he came off that huge hot streak. Look at when, he went ahead and just systematically destroyed through talent throughout the years, especially during the McMahon-Helmsley era. You look at how many WrestleManias he's won, how many times he's been the top spotlight, and that he probably didn't deserve it. But knowing that he had both Stephanie and Vince and the McMahons in general in his back pocket to not only protect him, but also give him that bit of leverage, it was a bit of privilege, as Dave said. And I want to be careful about what I say because, like I said, I do enjoy him. I enjoyed him at WrestleMania this year, but I certainly feel like when he's past his prime, we're still going to see him because he's self-serving his ego.
Yeah, and I guess I get the point too of Daniel Bryan's hot as fire, and Triple H is inserted in there and goes through him. Roman Reigns is the guy. Roman's got to go through Triple H now. He's there. Sting's coming back. Oh, Triple H is there. Seth Rollins is one of the hottest things going. Triple H is there. I get that, but I'm willing to go the other route and kind of say that I think that it's because of the commodity and the name that he is. And they try to. I think they try to find the best match they can find, and they have so many different matches now that it's the WWE World Championship has this route, this belt has that route, this guy has that guy. Well, what's Seth gonna do that's bigger than Triple H? If you said, okay, Seth versus Kevin Owens or something, but he's already got something. So Seth versus Samoa Joe would have been bigger than Triple H? I don't think so. I'm so glad
it might not have been bigger, but
I didn't want to see that. I bet
I would have wanted to see that.
I will. All right, I do want to see that in the future. I will say that. But Samoa Joe isn't built up enough in the WWE to me Not to me. I know Samoa Joe and I know Seth Rollins, and I'm game to watch them anytime for a main event as long as it's good. You know, sometimes Samoa Joe doesn't do it for me, but you know, Triple H does. And a lot of these fans don't know Samoa Joe that much, and they've built up this big storyline with Triple H. So
I give you that, and I mean, but they
year.
could always have had him debut at the Rumble. You know, it could have happened sooner, and they could have, you know, fixed some of the booking issues that we've now come to face. What Culture actually put out an article just a few weeks back that you know, it's 10 moments when Triple H's ego has damaged other wrestlers, and on here it lists off everything that happened with him with Umaga, Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 29, the fact that he beat him in that street fight, everything that happened with China. That's a great thing. How China can't get into the Hall of Fame right then and there. Why? Because Triple H doesn't want her there.
As a fan, it's sad. That is very sad to me as a fan, because in my mind and in many fans' minds, we see Triple H and we had seen Triple H in China as still like a very positive thing. Like seeing them together or hearing about them in DX is a very positive thing to us. We don't know about all the background stuff behind the scenes and everything. I will call bullshit on the fact that they say that, you know, she can't be in there because of her video or whatever. Tons of people are in fucking videos everywhere. You got Paige, fucking people coming on the NXT title. I mean,
Lana with her nudes.
Lana, I mean, who cares?
They were tasteful, but
yeah,
that's not the point.
I
the
mean,
point is
I know
that
exactly.
Nobody knows, nobody cares, unless you're really hardcore. And if you are, you'll probably be like, damn straight she deserves a fucking spot in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean,
so either way, she should be going in.
Yeah, you talk about kids. I mean, I got little kids, and you talk about kids Googling stuff. It's like they can Google lots of people. Then, you know, I mean, Sonny's in. I mean, whatever. It's just it's petty, stupid crap. She's dead now, so they're probably
it's
happy.
Egregious.
But
It's foolish, and it never should have been, on the table. That line right there. Oh well, if you Google her. Well, what about everything like you guys addressed with the recent leaks? But even before then, they pushed Playboy for years. Yeah, I know they're in a different direction now, but if you have the network and you look things up, it's not hard to see, what even happened.
So what was the excuse for Randy Savage then?
Exactly.
Who knows?
X-Pac returning. He was in the
X-Pac was in the actual porno, right? X-Pac is in the video with China that we can't Google, but yet X-Pac comes back all the time. And by the way, X-Pac is awesome. I do want to say I love X-Pac. Sean Waltman is a fucking awesome dude. I just wanted to throw that out there. I've just a couple times.
He is fantastic.
The couple times I've hung out or met with him or been able to hang out with him and ask him about things, my God, is he fucking awesome. Sean Waltman is the shit.
When you hear him talk about China, he only has good words about her. He feels sad about the road that she took, and he's very empathetic towards what she went through.
Yeah,
but
the plight that she suffered.
I think she did go
through.
The
thing is, though, anytime that he's asked to shoot and her name comes up, he's like, all I can say is good things about her. She was like, she suffered greatly. She really fought hard, and she had like these cards stacked against her, and and obviously he has his loyalty to the clique, so he can't really speak on Triple H, with that. But it's clear that he doesn't have any ill will towards her, unlike what we seem to see from the WWE.
I think
exactly. Sean often says he calls her Joni, not China. He said China was a great wrestler, but Joni was an amazing individual. Yeah. And he often, toes the line between kayfabe and reality, and I think that's also something worth noting too.
Well, to be honest, WWE in a way was justified, because look at what happened. I mean, with her. I mean, had she been clean for years, you know what I mean, and and been doing very positive things and stuff like that, the door may have actually been open to her. And I know Vince Russo has been really critical of like, how dare you WWE just basically bully her. Is when you hear about what Vince Russo said and what China was saying, I mean, it sounded like she was just trying to make amends with the WWE. But they wouldn't put their hand out. But
sorry, Joe Cronin, I've got to cut you off right there.
Okay.
When you've got documented cases of Vince McMahon handing out steroids back in the 80s to his performers, and then allowing for the subsequent shit act that we saw afterwards, where again people would be arrested for their over-the-top antics because they were really just roid raging. You know, like you've got
what does this have to do with China? What does this have to do with
Ultimate Warrior? No, but what I'm trying to say is this: that when you institute a environment where certain drugs are promoted, but you don't provide a support system for that, as they have now. Like now you have that system where, you know, you can go to
wellness
rehab,
policy.
they'll support, exactly, but they'll help you out. They want to see you do well, but they also don't want to get press. That's the big thing. When things started to come out in regards, especially with the concussions, with Benoit, with all these other people that were coming out, you know, spilling the beans on how they were operating as a business. And we know that a lot of wrestlers did try to start a union, but they couldn't because, again, some wrestlers were turncoats and for other reasons because of the industry. But all they were trying to do was to protect their health in all different ways. And one big aspect of that is the mental health, because when these people have to deal with the bumps that they do, what options do they have? Legal prescription drugs where they get like super addicted and you need to go through some major rehab, or something as harmless, and it is harmless, as cannabis, where it alleviates your pain, it helps your body, it helps cell regeneration.
Yes, but
it's a controlled substance. It's illegal. So what do you go with? The pharmaceuticals that get you super addicted but legal, or the little plant that grows at the side of the road that will get you 20 years in prison? What do you go with?
Well, I don't think this is about, you know, that. I think this is how she, you know, was as a person was handling things.
What support was she given though for her mental health issues that you were discussing?
That's different. If you want to talk about that,
and I also think that she was pushed over the edge. I think she had extended that olive branch and given her a chance to make a return, you know, even just for the Hall of Fame's sake, you know, gave her something, some type of thing that said, you know what, you were worth it. We're acknowledging that you had a great career and a great impact on the business. Maybe her mental status would have improved. I think all the comments that Triple H made, others made, pushed her over the edge.
It's true that did push her over the edge, perhaps, especially, and, you know, Stone Cold obviously got a lot of heat, I think. I think he caught Triple H off guard with that question. But, you know, they've proven this time and time again. Jake Roberts was a mess. They wouldn't bring him back. They wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame. He showed positive signs and became a better person and got cleaned up with DDP. They got him in the Hall of Fame. If China had done the same thing, maybe she would have been in the Hall of Fame. But at the time, they were like, well, we're not going near that right now, because she was making videos and doing all these things and crazy stuff. And, you know, I think that they basically, I think Triple H's answer wouldn't have changed. But I think what he said, you know, basically the result wouldn't have changed, but what Triple H said, if Triple H could go back in time, I think he would have answered the question differently. Because the answer is, at this time, no, we're not going to be able to do that with her. Maybe someday, at some point. There are so many things involved right now with her, and that's up to her. You know, they could say something like that. But he came out with a statement that was like, well, you know, here's the reason, because she was in the porn or whatever, you know, obviously. And he tried to sort of paint it more negatively to move off. But I think if Triple H could have answered that question differently, you know, the honest answer might have been that. You know, we don't know. I just know that with Jake Roberts, once you get clean and once you show the WWE you can be clean, you come back. Even Scott Hall, a guy who was close to Triple H and all that stuff, and all the guys in the clique and shit, they weren't putting Scott Hall in because he wasn't clean. He even said this. He goes, it feels so good, you know, now to be in the Hall of Fame, and all these things that he said, getting clean and everything. And Triple H, even in a video, and all these guys were interviewed, and I think Triple H and even somebody else in the WWE office said, you know, we're really proud of him that he was able to clean up and to do this, so that we were able to, we wanted him to be in here. He should have been in here years ago, but we couldn't, blah, blah, blah. So they're admitted right there that because Scott Hall was having drinking issues and going off and doing all these things, they wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame because of that. So he got cleaned up. I mean, granted, he got cleaned up like within 7 months, and you know he was, you know, he's allowed to come right in. But still, they are showing that consistency. And at the time, China had been making videos that we'd seen on YouTube, and you know, we all know that I had communication with her, but she was all over the place. One night she would be like walking around acting weird. But then she would make a lot of videos that were nice, like, hey, I'm getting healthy and I'm doing this shake thing. But then she would have these weird late night streams and then do podcasts and say things. And people knew that she was doing stuff still. And probably the wounds with her are obviously a lot deeper than Scott Hall. So, you know, it would have been a process, but I think it could have been done. But people are looking for the WWE to have saved her life. But, you know, it's not WWE's job to do that. I mean, DDP helped save Jake and Scott's life, maybe, or especially Jake's at the time. But it takes two to do that. You know, Jake responded eventually and put in all this work and hard effort. Jake Roberts has put in more effort. A guy who was broken down on drugs, had addiction, had issues, almost dead, old as he is. And Jake Roberts, I dare say, has done more work to better his body and his lifestyle than I ever have in my entire life in the last maybe 2 years. So, I mean, that's a lot of work that he put in. You know, Chyna, while in shape and being fit and stuff, still had issues. And she wasn't there yet. She might have been on her way, to be honest. If she had been clean for another year, like, she might have been there. And if it was best for business, they would have done it, I think. So look at all the terrible stuff that Warrior did and said, and everybody said, and whatever, and he came back. I mean, and I know Randy's.
I think she was picking herself back up slowly, and this would have set her in the right direction. I think this would have been the reason for her to absolutely stay clean. It's too hard to predict. I mean, we've mulled it over, but honestly, I just feel like the whole thing was just handled very, very poorly. On both ends, too. You know, Joni, yes, she could have done better. She should have been able to control her urges and impulses, but that wasn't the environment or lifestyle she was used to. One, she was used to getting her own way, and two, she was also in a situation which managers and management went ahead and procured the drugs for her. You know, it was stated that back in the WWF days that whatever you requested, it was in your locker room. You know, it was there for you.
Again, everybody did this stuff, and you know, that's just that's what happened, and I get that. But you know, and that's a difference. You want to blame, you know, talk about that? That's a separate issue. Let's go ahead. But not everybody else is doing what Chyna did. You know, people got over stuff. People came back. You know, there's a lot of weird personal shit in there with her, obviously, that we don't know about. I get it. She was going to have to work, unfortunately. I think the fact is she was going to have to work twice as hard as anybody else to try to get back in their good graces. Because I'm sure it was uncomfortable for Stephanie. I'm sure it was uncomfortable for Triple H, Vince, and maybe a few other people we don't even know about. So, you know, I get that, though. I was mad, dude. I was mad, too.
What would happen if I Google Sunny Playboy? Well,
they put her in before that, then? Right? Didn't they put her... Well, Playboy... Apparently, they don't have an issue with Playboy, because it's the double standard. I agree. That's what I said. That statement by Triple H made no goddamn sense in that podcast. He obviously made the wrong statement, or they're not telling us that, hey, we just don't like her. We hate her. They can't come out and say we hate Chyna. That's the other thing. There's one of the two. Triple H couldn't come up with couldn't really say the real reason why they won't let her in at this time. So he just said, well, if you Google her and made up this thing, or they fucking hate her. I mean, it's one of the two, and it might be that they just hate her. That might just be it. They hate her. And that's how a lot of fans feel, because WWE is so vague about everything. People just make up their own assumptions, and that's what's going to happen. And the reason why Triple H and the WWE force the fans into that position, when you say, oh, well, if you Google her, my kids might see. Well, guess what? If you Google a whole bunch of other fucking people, guess what they're going to see? But those people are okay to come back. So you've forced the fans, or anybody with a brain, to just think that you're fucking full of shit. I mean, that's what has happened. They were forced into that position. So just like the WWE has forced the fans into the position of chanting JBL's a bully, and this guy on SmackDown coming in with a sign, I was 15 feet away from him, that says JBL bullied me. You know, they are forcing the fans to do that, because everybody knows what sort of went on, but they don't acknowledge it. And the worst thing to me, I think they should go with it. I would, you know, I would say fuck it. You know, I told you I would have JBL just go full heel. I would call Mauro Ranallo. I would get him mental help if I had to. I would fucking fund his mental help. I would have him face off with JBL in the middle of the ring and have Mauro Ranallo fucking slap JBL. You know, I mean, it would be awesome. The crowd would pop. It would be nuts. There's only good things to me can happen from that. First of all, Moro's happy and he accepts your apology. He gets to slap JBL. You know, JBL gets to apologize. They get to shine light on mental illness and bullying. Like, all these things. All these things are good to me. I don't. Running away makes this dark fucking cloud over everything, I feel like. Why not use it? And listen, if Moro says, no, I'm not coming back to do anything like that, well, fine. Fine. Turn JBL heel anyway. Make him worse. They're trying to make him nicer. Don't do that. Make him fucking worse.
Turn him full face.
You should have heard the boos that he got in Boston the other night at SmackDown. He came out fucking boo! Like JBL sucks. JBL's a bully. Like Bradshaw's a bully. Like, we want Mauro. I mean, it was unbelievable. And they don't get to use any of that because you got to hide it under the rug. But
now you're bringing Booker T to Raw, and, you know, all these things are happening.
Because I'm Booker T, let me tell you.
You know, it's funny, Booker T, on a recent podcast, was kind of defending JBL, but also being nice to Mauro. And then at the end, he even talked about Chris Benoit. And I was like, man, for a guy coming back to Raw, he's talking about a lot of stuff that's fucking somewhere that WWE doesn't want to go. But, you know, but again, Booker T says, you know, oh, you shouldn't be, you know, suck it up and be a man. You know, once you're out of high school, the bullying ends. There's no bullying outside of high school. There's just two men who have a problem with each other. That's what Booker T said. Now, that's fine, and I get what Booker T is kind of saying, suck it up, man, don't be a pussy. And I get that, because I'm kind of in that area too. However, I will say that Mauro Ranallo is a 5'7" fucking guy. And different. However, again, I will also say...
Does that mean I can clock my coworker in the face because he's trying to, you know, intimidate me to get me to work his stuff?
I guess not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of times bullying is you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So that's why it's bullying, because no matter what you do, you're going to be wrong and you're going to get fucking assaulted or bullied or whatever the fuck. So, yeah, I get it. People don't understand what that's like. I mean... hey, dude, what's up, Mr. Always on Time? Okay, well, then you come late. Well, now you're late, asshole. Then you come on time, then he slaps you in the face, suck up. And then then you come on time, and then he still slaps you in the face. And then you go, hey, dude, what the hell? Why do you always get to slap me in the fucking face? Do you want to get slapped in the face? Oh, next thing you know, you're in trouble for speaking up. You know, so there's nowhere to go, nothing to do, and I get that. But you know what? That's why people get stabbed and shit, you know? Michael Cole, though. Let's look at Michael Cole. I see Michael Cole as a guy who wouldn't really get bullied. You think? I mean, probably back in the day he did, but I mean, like, because Cole is kind of like ferocious off the mic. Like on the mic and his persona on TV seems like this nice sort of play-by-play guy, dorky almost. But I know that Cole is not like that. Cole behind the scenes is fucking ferocious. You know, someone talk shit to Cole. Cole might, you know, fuck yourself. You know, Michael Cole will snap on you. Yeah. I feel like. You know,
I believe it. He seems timid and you know,
he plays the commentator nice guy, but yeah, behind the scenes, Cole is a fucking alpha male too, which is what you need to be. And I just think that clashed with Mauro. To me, it clashed with Mauro. JBL and him, they just, you know, he didn't get the jokes, he didn't get the hazing, he didn't get the humor. JBL probably didn't care for him too much anyway. Getting the awards he got, Mauro tweeting out Wrestling Observer stuff or whatever the hell when, you know, I guess that's taboo. You're not really supposed to do that. Yeah. You know, I'm sure JBL saw that as we gotta fucking set this guy straight type of time. You know what I mean? Oh, this guy's only been here a year. He don't really know how things work in wrestling. I get that he's a commentator from boxing and all that stuff, but this is how we work here. 4 eyes. You know, and you know what I mean. And that fucking didn't work out too well. The only exception with Mauro is the fact that he has mental illness. Maybe JBL should have been like, well, this guy's got a history of maybe some issues there. I don't want to be shot.
Maybe I shouldn't fuck this up. Yeah. Trigger him into a searing, spiraling depression.
On fuego! No, but, so anyway, I think we talked enough about shit. I think this is a really interesting episode. I feel like I took the WWE side more than usual today.
Yeah, I like it when we disagree. One last thing I wanted to bring up quickly before tonight's Raw, Joe, is the fact that we saw, you know, Finn Balor get injured by the hands of Jinder Juiced Up Mahal, you know, hard body. on the most recent episode of Raw, we saw that stiff forearm strike to the head of Balor, and Balor just went straight down. And he's injured again. And his current status is he definitely got a concussion from that. But apparently they're considering ending his push. Finn showed up, he got the shoulder injury. Now his second TV match back, he gets hurt again. This is Dave Meltzer saying, I hope he doesn't get hurt one more time. You don't want to have that in Vince's head, that you're injury prone. It doesn't kill you because Vince has a thing in his head about other people that they still get pushed to a degree. But it does temper him from going all the way with somebody. So basically, Meltzer and others worried that he's going to be, neutered.
Yeah, well, you know what? I would be worried too, because you know what? It's human nature. If you invest all this time into someone and all this buzz, and then he comes up, gets injured, then he comes back, and then boom, he's injured again, you're going to be, it's just like a sports team. You're going to be like, well, let's not pay fucking this guy the $6 million now he's asking for because he might get injured again. Or it starts to play into it.
It's very difficult too because you're going to such a huge backing.
You're going to get Rey Mysterio shit. Finn Balor's going to turn into. Honestly, I see him turning into the Rey Mysterio spot. You know what I mean? Rey Mysterio, booyah, booyah, then he comes out and headbutts someone with a mask on. Finn's going to turn into the demons here. And he's on the mid card or upper mid card. And I'm dead serious. And
I believe it, and I feel terrible because he is so great. I've been watching Prince Fergal Devitt for 15 years.
He's so great, but he better step it up in his matches.
I don't think he's been. Him and Seth tore down the house at SummerSlam. I enjoyed their match, and as far as main roster goes, we've seen him in 4 matches so far.
Yeah,
him and Roman, him and Seth. He had a match last week, and now this week against Jinder. So he hasn't really had that much of a chance to shine. Look at everything he did on NXT; it was great. I really enjoyed him.
Right now, though, when you talk about wrestling ability and presentation and everything he's got to offer, and what I've seen of him so far in the main roster, I got Balor at like a 7 or a 6'5". I got AJ Styles.
NXT he was the total package, but
I got AJ. Well, I don't even know about that, but I got AJ Styles as like a 9. Finn Balor in NXT. What was his? Name his matches that were that. I liked the match that I liked the most with him was the Samoa Joe match where Joe got busted open, and if Joe didn't get busted open, that match wasn't going to be the next match they had wasn't very good to me. Well,
I really enjoyed him and Kevin Owens.
Him and Owens did have a pretty good match. The
ladder match
was that the Japan match.
The Japan match where he first won the title was fantastic, and the ladder match, the follow-up to that, I really enjoyed too.
Yeah, those were pretty good. After that, I don't know. But, I don't know. To me, I don't know. He's just got to... I hope
him teaming with Hideo Itami was really good.
He's just got to do more random stuff. He can't go with the same, road map of this move, then do that move, then do Sling Blade, then...
Yeah, I hear you there.
False finish.
To the coup de grace. I think he's got to... But I also think he hasn't had enough time. Like I said, there's been 4 matches, and now he's fucking injured again. It's real disheartening because I really like Finn Balor. He's one that I mark out for. He's someone that I really wanted to see several times now. That's why I went to Raw.
You know what I want to see? You know what you're going to see?
Go and missed out on him.
Well, Jake, you know what you're going to see? You're going to see Finn Balor go for the coup de grace on Roman. Then Roman rolls out of the way. Then Finn lands on his feet and does that rolling out thing. Then turns around and Superman punch to the face and he's out and Roman covers him.
I thought you were going to say he goes for the coup de grace and then lands on Roman's chest protector and breaks his ankle. I seriously, if Roman and Finn ever have a match together, that's how it's going to end. It's going to end with the coup de grace miss, roll out, turn around, and Roman's either going to spear him or Superman punch him. Probably spear him. Yeah, Roman will just be right there. Ooh!
Yeah. You know what will happen is he'll Superman punch him.
Noise.
He'll Superman punch him, Finn will fly into the ropes, and then Roman will go off the ropes and then spear him off the ropes too, and then beat Finn Balor. Okay, let's get out of here. I think we had a fun time. Thank you guys so much for listening to State of the WWE. Also want to remind you guys again that Patreon is the best way to support the show. We got a bonus video that went up the other day, so don't miss out on the next bonus video we release. It's patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. That's where you guys can support monthly. Over 100 patrons now. Unbelievable. 40 patrons within about 2 weeks' time. Obviously, that's a response to YouTube's ad revenue and everything going to shit on YouTube. I am getting a good laugh at all the big YouTubers every day coming out saying they're creating Patreons. That's funny. because they were always like, I don't need to do that. I'm here for fun and I make enough money or whatever. Well, now you're fucking seeing why you should have had a Patreon all along, because this shit can go away. If all I can say is, if you like your favorite content creator, become a patron of their account or sign up for YouTube Red. I love YouTube Red. It's fucking $9.99 a month, and I get no ads on anything, and I can download any YouTube video right to my phone. There's a bunch of shit you can do with YouTube Red.
Yeah, you can leave the app and still have it play.
You can turn
in
your
the
phone
background.
off.
It's great.
It plays in the background like a podcast, so you don't have to leave your screen on, so it eats up data on your phone. That right there might save you that money. And I do get paid for it. If you are subscribed to me, they break off the $9.99 into the amount of subscribers you listen to. So I believe if you are, say you're subscribed to 200 channels, well then you would divide, I think, the $9.99 into that, or something like that. I don't know how do you do math. I don't know.
Well, it goes by watch time too, I guess.
Yeah, so if you watch my channel like 30% of the time, maybe you end up giving me $1.20 a month. So, whatever. I don't know. But the real way to do it would be to just support on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. Also, guys, check out the sponsors and the affiliates that we mentioned on this show today. All the description box, all those are in the description box down below. All the sponsors, all the affiliates that I mentioned, so you can go and buy their products and we get credit for it, or try the free samples, or get the coupon codes, whatever the hell it might be. Thanks for listening, and hit up Devious Dave Rose on Twitter at Devious Dave Rose, and Jake at Countdown Ended. I'm at Joe Cronin JCS, and we'll see you tonight live after Monday Night Raw.